Hello, everyone. Um, Stop what you're doing right now because someone has been watching you, not in the way you think, not physically, but energetically, emotionally, paying attention to every move you make, every decision, every shift in your energy. And the terrifying part, you invited them in, you gave them access. And you've been completely unaware of how closely they've been studying you. Welcome back. It's Anna. And I need you to stay with me on this because what I'm about to share with you, it's going to make your stomach drop. Not because it's supernatural, not because there's some dark force following you, but because the truth about who's been watching you all along is so much closer than you ever realized. It's someone you know, someone you trust, or someone you used to trust. And here's the part that's going to hit you. They've been watching you to learn you, to figure out your patterns, your weaknesses, what makes you doubt yourself, what makes you feel guilty, what buttons to push to keep you exactly where they want you. I know that sounds intense. I know that might feel like I'm being dramatic, but hear me out. Have you ever had this experience? You're about to do something for yourself, make a change, set a boundary, walk away from something that's been draining you, and suddenly, out of nowhere, this person shows up. A text, a call, a comment, perfectly timed, almost like they knew. Yeah, is less than hash zero. 5 hashes greater than. That's what I'm talking about. Let me ask you something right now, and I want you to really think about this. Is there someone in your life who seems to know exactly when you're pulling away? When you're getting stronger? When you're starting to see things clearly? And right when you're about to make that shift, they do something. They reach out, they apologize, they love bomb you, they create a crisis, they remind you of the good times. And suddenly you're back to doubting yourself, back to wondering if maybe you were wrong about them. That's not coincidence. That's observation. They've been watching you, studying your reactions, learning what works, and using that information to keep you in their orbit. Now, hold on. Let me slow down for a second. I'm not saying this person is sitting there with a notebook plotting against you. It's usually not that conscious. But some people, whether they realize it or not, they've developed this skill, this ability to read people, to sense when they're losing control, to sense when someone's about to break free. And when they sense that, they act. You may notice that this person pays very close attention to your social media, not just liking posts, but watching, seeing who you're with, what you're doing, how you're feeling, and then using that information in conversations later, subtly, in ways that make you feel like they care, but really it's just data collection. Or maybe they don't need social media. Maybe they have other people feeding them information, mutual friends, family members, people who don't even realize they're being used as sources. It can feel like you're being monitored, not in a creepy, illegal way, but emotionally monitored, like someone's keeping tabs on your mental state, your happiness level, your independence. And the terrifying truth, the person who's been watching you all along, the person you'll never guess, it might be the person you've been defending, the person you've been making excuses for, the person everyone else has been warning you about, but you kept saying, no, you don't understand them like I do. Or here's the twist. Maybe it's not just one person. Maybe it's you. Stay with me. Because sometimes the person who's been watching you most closely, most critically, most judgmentally, is the version of yourself that's still operating from fear, the version that's scanning for threats, the version that's waiting for the other shoe to drop, the version that's so used to being hurt, betrayed, or disappointed that it watches everyone with suspicion. And that hypervigilance, it's exhausting. It's keeping you trapped in a cycle where you can't trust anyone, not even yourself. So let me ask you this. Who's really been watching you? Is it someone external keeping tabs on you to maintain control? Or is it an internal part of you replaying old wounds, expecting history to repeat itself? I'm not sure why, but this feels really important, is less than #0. 5# is greater than you need to start paying attention to why you feel watched. Because that feeling, it's a signal. It's your nervous system telling you something. It might be telling you this person is too invested in controlling your narrative, or it might be telling you you're living in survival mode and it's time to come back to yourself. Here's what I've been noticing. There's been a specific situation in your life recently where you felt exposed, like someone saw through you, like they knew something you didn't say out loud. And it made you uncomfortable. It made you wonder, how did they know that? Maybe you were sitting at your desk, scrolling through messages, and you saw something that made you freeze. A comment that was just a little too specific. A question that felt like a test. A statement that revealed they'd been paying closer attention than you thought. And in that moment, you felt it. That tightness in your chest. That sinking feeling. That quiet realization, they've been watching me. But here's what you need to understand. People who watch you closely like that, they do it because they need something from you. Your attention, your validation, your compliance, your predictability. They need to know where you are emotionally so they can manage you. And that's terrifying, isn't it? The idea that someone has been managing you without you even realizing it. But listen, the fact that you're noticing this now, the fact that you're starting to feel uncomfortable with how much access this person has to your inner world is less than #0. 0# is greater than, that's growth. That's awareness. That's you waking up. Because you can't be manipulated by something you can see clearly. You can only be manipulated when it's hidden, when it's subtle, when it operates in the background of your subconscious. So the truth about who's been watching you, it's not as terrifying once you name it, once you see it, once you decide you're no longer available for that dynamic. Let me ask you something. Have you been feeling like someone's waiting for you to fail? Or waiting for you to come back to them? Like they're just hovering, watching, not fully gone, but not fully present either. It's this weird limbo where you feel their presence even when they're not around. And it makes you second guess everything. Should I reach out? Should I explain myself? Should I prove I'm doing okay? No, you don't owe anyone a performance. You don't owe anyone proof that you're fine, or struggling, or moving on, or standing still. Your life is not a show for someone else's consumption. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to think about the person or people who come to mind right now, the ones who feel like they've been watching you too closely. And I want you to ask yourself, what are they looking for? Are they looking for signs that you need them? that you're lost without them, that you're making mistakes? Or are they just keeping tabs, staying relevant, making sure they still have a foothold in your life? Is less than has hone? Zero hash is greater than. And then I want you to ask yourself the bigger question. Do I want to be watched like this? Do I want someone tracking my emotional weather, my choices, my growth, so they can decide when and how to intervene? Or do I want space, privacy, freedom, the ability to evolve without an audience that's rooting for me to stay the same? Because here's the thing. Some people watch you because they love you. They notice because they care. They check in because they genuinely want to know how you're doing. But other people, they watch you because they're afraid of losing control. They watch you to stay one step ahead. They watch you so they can continue to influence your decisions, your emotions, your sense of reality. And you can feel the difference, can't you? One feels like support. The other feels like surveillance. So the terrifying truth about who's been watching you all along, it's the person you've been giving power to. The person whose opinion you've been valuing more than your own. The person whose approval you've been chasing, even when it costs you your peace. And the person who's been watching you most harshly, that might be the part of you that learned to anticipate danger, to read the room, to monitor everyone's emotions so you could keep yourself safe. Both need to stop, not because you're cutting people off, not because you're becoming cold or closed off, but because you're choosing relationships where you don't have to be watched, you can just be. Let me ask you, do you feel like you're constantly being evaluated by someone in your life right now? Drop a comment and let me know, because I think a lot of people are feeling this. And here's what I want to leave you with. You are not a project. You are not a problem to be solved or a person to be fixed or controlled. And anyone who's watching you with that energy, they're telling you more about themselves than about you. So take your power back. Not loudly, not dramatically, just quietly. By noticing, by setting boundaries, by refusing to perform for an audience that doesn't even have your best interest at heart. Trust your inner knowing. You already sense who's been watching too closely. You already know what feels off. You don't need more proof. You just need to honor what you already feel. Take what resonates here. Leave what doesn't. But stop letting other people's observation of you determine how you see yourself. You're safe. You're seen. And you're allowed to move through your life without an audience. Thanks for being here. I'll see you soon. Take care.